Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh. So in this class, we'll learn about heterotrophic nutrition. In previous class, we learned autotrophic nutrition, and this class we clarify about the heterotrophic nutrition. So we will know about heterotrophic nutrition. In this, we divided them into three. What are those? Parasitic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, and holozoic nutrition. So here we well known about this parasitism. Which organism depends on another organism for their food. In this, some organisms depends on another dead and decay matter for their food. And holozoic nutrition, here which organisms are taking complex substances into their bodies and convert them into simple substances, and that food includes solids, liquids and gases. So here today we'll start with the holozoic nutrition. What is holozoic nutrition? Which organisms are taking complex substances into their bodies and convert them into simple substances. So here what is the best example of holozoic nutrition? As we discussed, that is amoeba, paramecium. These are comes under this holozoic nutrition. So how they are taking the food into their bodies? So we'll discuss now. So now, nutrition in amoeba. Which kind of nutrition system followed by this amoeba and paramecium? These both are followed by holozoic nutrition. Okay, what they are doing here? They are intaking complex substances into their body and convert them into simple substances. How they are doing? How they are intaking food in amoeba? Amoeba, they have a temporary finger-like projections are on their bodies. Those are called pseudopodia. What are those? Finger-like projections, feet-like structures. Here they have, those are called as pseudopodia. Here the meaning of pseudo is false. Pseudo means false. False means they have. So by that they are taking food into their bodies. How food is moved here? How this amoeba moves towards this food? Through the process of osmosis, they are moves towards the food. Through the process of osmosis, amoeba moves towards the food. Later, the food entry into the cytoplasm through the process of diffusion. So amoeba moves towards the food with the process of osmosis. Osmosis meaning is low concentration. Materials moves from low concentration to high concentration. Due to this process, these complex substances which enters into this body, amoeba's body, and this food particle or food vacuole enters into the cytoplasm with the process of diffusion. Later, digesting food which distribute into the cytoplasm, and undigested food will throw out from their bodies. So this is about nutrition in amoeba. And coming to paramecium. How paramecium nutrition takes place in their bodies? Paramecium is also single cellular organism, but we should know that it is a multinucleate organism. Multinucleates are present in their bodies. Here the food enters into their bodies at the area of oral groove. And how this food enters into these areas? And here they also have projections on their bodies. This is called cilia. With the help of the cilia, the food which flows into the oral groove and which helps in swim in water. So two functions are followed by this cilia. cilia which helps to throw the food into the oral groove. At the same time, they are helps in swimming in water, swims in water. So here, when food is entries into this, into their inside of the bodies, the food particles or food vacuoles will diffuse entire the body surface, entire the body, and remaining undigested food material will throw from anal pore. Here, what we found? Here there is a difference from amoeba to paramecium. Both are intaking complex substances and they convert them into simple substances. But the process of intaking is different. So intaking of food here in this paramecium we call it here as cytostome. And this is about nutrition, amoeba and paramecium. Now we'll discuss about parasitic nutrition in Cuscuta. So parasitic nutrition in Cuscuta. So here, this is the one parasitic plant. It is a parasitic plant. And here they have the 170 twining species. 170 twining species around the world. Other name of Cuscuta, that is dodder plant, and it belongs to Convolvulaceae family. It belongs to Convolvulaceae family, and we call it as morning glory. Here, this is a parasitic plant. Why we are calling here? This is a parasite because deficiency of chlorophyll. There is no chlorophyll presence in their bodies. Due to that reason, they depend on another plant. That another plant we call here as host plant. So from the host plant, they are absorbing nutrients like food and water. Where they are grasping this water with the help of Hastoria. Hastoria, what is the meaning of Hastoria? This Cuscuta plant body have a hook-like structures on their bodies. Those are called as Hastoria. With the help of this Hastoria, they inject or they entry their anchor roots into this plant bodies. That is for water they increase into the xylem. For food they increase their Hastoria into the phloem. Phloem which prepares food in plant body, and xylem is the place of storing of water. So these Hastoria, with the help of these Hastorias, they entries into the plant body. And here these stems, Cuscuta stems have a different colors, slenders like pink and brown in colors, and yellow colors also there. And these leaves, how the leaves are there? These leaves are reduced as minute scales. Leaves reduced into minute scale. So here, once again I am repeating here, parasitic nutrition in Cuscuta. Cuscuta have on our earth we have 170 twining species, and this other name dodder plant, and it belongs to Convolvulaceae family, and it's called as morning glory. Here they are not having chlorophyll. Due to absence of chlorophyll, they are depending on another plants. Here they are observing the food from the phloem of the host plant and water from the xylem of the host plant. And some of the plants, one of the plants in Cuscuta family, that is a Cuscuta reflexia. Cuscuta reflexia have a little amount of chlorophyll, in their body. So after grasping of nutrition from their bodies from another plant, they are moving to another plant. And this is about parasitic nutrition. Nutrition in human beings. So which kind of nutrition system followed by human being? That is a holozoic nutrition. What we explain about this holozoic? Here human beings are taking complex substances as their food and they convert them into simple substances. Here our alimentary canal plays a key role in digestion of food material. What is that? Alimentary canal, which starts from mouth and ends with the anus. Starts from mouth and ends with the anus. Here, largest part in alimentary canal, that is small intestine. Small intestine with 6 to 7 meters. So stomach releases HCl to break down food. So what is the bolus is present in stomach to break down the food particles into simple substances. And what is the main character of HCl, which kills microbes like bacteria, which kills microbes which presents in our food material. Now this is the condition of receiving of juices from different organs. Now at this time liver releases bile juice. This bile juice which act on food material to break down the fats, and here they are break down with this bile juice. Now the process of breakdown of fat molecules, that we called here as emulsification. They are convert the fat into simple substances. Here the process of emulsification done by this bile juice, as well as they are taking pancreatic juice to digest the carbohydrates and lipases in food material. Later, food will travel into small intestine. Before entering the small intestine, that food definitely digests the proteins and the carbohydrates. Now, which food digests these proteins and carbohydrates? That would be called here as chyme. Now that food, after breakdown of proteins and carbohydrates, that would be called here it as chyme. So now the food will be entering into the small intestine. So small intestine is the largest part in alimentary canal. So now we will discuss about small intestine. So small intestine, we have three parts. Small intestine, will have three parts. First one, duodenum, jejunum, ileum. These are the three parts which presents in small intestine. What is the function of a small intestine? Small intestine have inside finger-like projections are present inside of the small intestine. Those are called as villi. Finger-like projections are present inside of the small intestine, which helps in absorption. So remaining undigested food material or digested food material will absorb by small intestine, which part? Villi. So here duodenum, jejunum, ileum. This is the first part. Duodenum is the first part of a small intestine, and the middle part, that is a jejunum and ileum. The duodenum have with a 25 to 30 centimeters distance, means long, and jejunum with a 1 meter to 1.5 have with a 2.5 meters, and ileum with a 3 meters. So jejunum with a 2.5 meters and ileum with 3 meters long. So now Absorption only we are thinking, all the students are thinking small intestine is the only part of absorption in our body. No, another part is also present in our body in absorption of material, that is PCT region. PCT region of nephron which presents in kidney. This is also have this villi. With the presence of this villi, they are absorbing the nutrients or materials into inside of their bodies. So not only small intestine involving absorption, this also PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, also have a absorption. That takes place absorption in their bodies. So here, after digesting of this food, after absorption of this food, the food will be entry into the large intestine. So small intestine have to release one juice, that is the succus entericus. What is that? Succus entericus, which helps in digestion of food. That food, remaining food, enters into the large intestine. Large intestine. In this, what is the length of this large intestine? That is 1.5 meter. 1.5 meter. Here, this place, we divided this large intestine. We divide into three. Those are cecum, colon, rectum. These are the parts which involves in large intestine. There is no absorption takes place in this large intestine. And here the cecum length is 7 centimeters and colon is 150 centimeters. Rectum have with 20 centimeters. So now, where the appendix presents in our body, which part of large intestine have appendix? So here in our body, cecum is the place which have this appendix. You know, this is the waste region organ which presents in our body. There is no use of this appendix, but it helps in digestive system. For total digestive system of rabbit takes by this appendix. What is the part that is cecum? So this is about nutrition in human beings. Here, after taking this food, after digestion of small intestine, food will travel into the large intestine. From the large intestine, food will be moved to cecum to colon, colon to rectum. And that rectum, after rectum, that is a place of storing of waste material, roughages. Now that food, so that undigested food have with the carbohydrates, proteins and fibers and some of the carbohydrates which are present in the undigested food. So that will be ejected from outside of the body with the help of anus. And this is about nutrition in human beings. So after ejecting of waste material, expels of waste materials from the anus, that's a process we call defecation. And now we'll discuss now about diseases of malnutrition. So here, after completion of the nutrition in human beings, what we understood? Definitely our alimentary canal should be clean day to day. So every time we should clean our alimentary canal, and every time we should maintain balanced diet. So if you are not taking balanced diet, which means that food which contains the proteins, carbohydrates, fats and fibers and everything, vitamins, definitely. So here, these all are definitely maintained by us. If you are not maintained properly, we'll face some problems. So here we'll discuss about diseases due to malnutrition. So 2/3 of people on the earth, 2/3 of people affected by this malnutrition. They are only affected with not taking of balanced diet. So by that we divided the malnutritions into 3. What are those? Protein malnutrition, and second one caloric malnutrition, third one protein caloric malnutrition. So now we'll discuss more about affected diseases due to this malnutrition. First we'll discuss some diseases due to malnutrition in children. First disease, that is kwashiorkor disease. Second one, marasmus disease. Third one, obesity. So coming to this kwashiorkor disease, how it affect to children? So this is a protein deficiency disease. Protein deficiency, whom they affected by this kwashiorkor disease. Here, what are the symptoms of kwashiorkor disease? Fluffy face, swollen legs, accumulation of water in intracellular spaces in children body, and diarrhea. These are the symptoms of kwashiorkor disease. Then coming to marasmus disease, who have a malnutrition like proteins and calories. Those are affected by this marasmus disease, and especially who gave their second early pregnancy, who got early second pregnancy, those child affected by this marasmus disease. How we found the symptoms of this marasmus? Lean muscles, poor development of muscles, and swollen legs are the symptoms of this marasmus disease. And third one is obesity, who are taking excess amount of food into their bodies, their body affected by this obesity. So what are the symptoms we find in this? Cardiovascular problems, renal damage problems, they are unable to walk. So these are the symptoms of this obesity. And this is briefly about malnutrition. Then we'll discuss about vitamin deficiency diseases. These are called as micronutrients. Means we are requiring less amount for our growth. Micronutrients we call here, and our body not able to synthesize these vitamins. So due to that reason, we are depending on fruits and some other food or. So here, one of the bacteria which presents in our intestine, that is cyanocobalamin, B12 vitamin they are supplying. When it is present at the point of intestine, what they are supplying? Cyanocobalamin vitamin they are supplying into our bodies. And here vitamins we divided into two. First one, water soluble vitamin, 5 fat insoluble vitamins. So what are the water soluble vitamins? B and C are the water soluble vitamins. Remaining A, D, E, K are the fat soluble vitamins. Now we'll find the different kinds of vitamins, how they are helpful to our body to growth and repair